Martin Luther King Jr. didn't die so his legacy could be used as a talking point for everybody except black people. He didn't get assassinated so politicians could tell us how far black people have come while still last in wealth, last in health, last in being protected, and first in incarceration. In honoring Dr. King today means pretending civil rights movement was some kind of an overwhelming success. Then we're not honoring him properly. We're actually erasing him. And today his legacy is being woven into a fight that has nothing to do with what he was fighting for. Martin Luther King didn't just die so his legacy could be used as a talking point for everybody except black people. Today I want to talk about the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King and how black politicians keep using the civil rights movement as a moral shield, especially in the fight over illegal immigration, while doing absolutely nothing for black people. There's a myth floating around about the civil rights movement that we kicked ass, that we won. There were some committed blacks. There were some black people who were really down for the cause. There were some black people who could not be bribed, could not be sold out, could not be lured over to the other side or used to work against their people. Today, black politicians invoke Dr. King to justify policies that primarily benefit other groups. Immigration, foreign aid, coalition politics, the Democratic Party. They quote King about justice and morality, but never about economic exploitation. He did talk about that. He talked in depth about inequality in economic opportunities for black people and how that needed to be addressed as well. But they picked the parts of Dr. Martin Luther King they want to keep repeating, and then there are parts of Martin Luther King's fight and speeches that you don't hear so much, if at all. They appear to be turning his legacy into a universal permission slip while black Americans are told to wait, sacrifice, be patient, don't worry about progress, worry about getting along with other people in the country and being accepted. When it comes to a civil rights fight, if this is winning, then somebody needs to explain why it still feels like survival. How could you have won a civil rights fight and still be living every day in survival mode, being killed by police, being treated not only by the establishment, the man, the police, but your next door neighbor sometime as a villain? When you're just a black person and the only identifying mark you have is your skin, your features, your culture, who you really are. And that's enough to make people hate you and want you dead. To honor Dr. Martin Luther King today doesn't mean quoting him. It means telling the truth about what he didn't have time to finish. It means refusing to let his legacy be diluted. It means fighting for black people with some urgency he did not know the cost for. He didn't know the cost of what he was fighting for would be his life. I'm sure he knew he was treading in some dangerous areas because he had to have been met with folks trying to lure him over to the other side, trying to make him sell out, trying to make him forget what he was doing and why he was doing it, and with some threats and brushes with death, firebombing his house, threatening death over the phone, knowing that he had a wife and children that he had to look out for as well. Those things had to weigh heavy on him. For him to still push forward, for him still to be surrounded by people who, out of all of them, one of them should have been able to step up. When they shot Martin Luther King, none of them was willing to step up because they weren't doing it to die. Martin Luther King was not doing it to die. But if he had it to do over again, things would have been done differently. He's an intelligent man, and there's no way that he'd have realized, hey, we can't do this like this because I'm going to get killed and it's going to end. Then black people are going to start believing that the crime bill and all these things are helping them. We're believing up is down and down is up. We push for things that harm us, but the biggest thing that we're doing right now is taking all of the effort, all of the energy, all of the love that went into that civil rights fight, and we're willing to just package it up and hand it over to the illegal immigrants like it's some kind of a baton in a race. It isn't. It's our fight, and our fight isn't finished. And we are not going to hand our fight over to illegal immigrants to go on further than we were allowed to go on. We never had any agency of the government supporting us the way these illegal immigrants do. Or maybe we would have gone further. And maybe the Democratic Party and these police departments and all of these agencies that were so heavily against us can look now and say, gosh, we are showing more support to the illegal immigrants than we ever showed for blacks. Why can't they look at the camera and look at the mics when they have a chance to talk on their platforms and admit that? Any person who is reaping the benefits of that period in time, any period in time, going all the way back to the beginning of the country, needs to be honest, needs to speak the truth, and needs to quit acting like black people have scored some touchdowns and now we need to sit down and shut up and let someone else progress. When, if you compare business ownership in the illegal immigrant population compared to black American citizens, they have more business ownership than we do. It's a sad, sad day when we can't even outperform illegal immigrants. Why is that? And why do we continue to pretend to be a group of people who are in a position to lend help to anyone? And we're not even in a position to help ourselves. And we keep pretending that we're rooting for others and pulling for others and stomping and marching and fighting for others. And every time they succeed, every time we push them across the line, they never come back. They never reach back. They never lock arms with us and remember that we were a participant in their success, in their achievement. And we just keep standing there and waving people across the line like we're in a position to do that, and we're not. As black people, we got to love ourselves. We have to fight for ourselves because we already know no one else will. No one else is coming for us. We have to come for ourselves. We have to fight for ourselves. We have to pull for ourselves. And Martin Luther King, his legacy is not illegal immigration. His legacy is not anything but black people getting the same quality of life in the United States based on our history that everyone else in this country is enjoying. And since he's died, so many other groups have come to this country and had second and third generations to follow, who have gone on to be doctors and lawyers and business owners and politicians and so many other things that have nothing to do with the color of their skin or that held them back. And we have been here longer than most. And look where we are, and why is that? That's what Dr. Martin Luther King was fighting for. Not for us to accept the position they put us in and let the country go on without us and say, hey, they went from slaves to being at the bottom. They're free, but they're at the bottom. That ain't what we're fighting for, and that ain't what he was fighting for. And as black people, we need to quit allowing folks to diminish Dr. Martin Luther King's fight and ours. And we need to continue to fight and quit allowing them to make this compliance that we're living under right now a fight. Because you cannot, no matter how eloquently you write, make compliance look like a fight. It just isn't. Like, comment, share. Please subscribe. We'll see you on the next Black Popcorn.